At ease, brothers. I come bearing good news. And that good news is that the silence means a new season. Normally when I talk about the silence, I talk about the silence as a place of retreat. You know what I'm saying? Like normally when I talk about, going into the silence, it's talking about, I talk about going into the silence when, maybe I'm coming out of, or attempting to come out of a low vibrational state. I may be in between jobs. I may have been just coming out of a toxic relationship. It could have been a point in time in life where my money was doing some crazy things. It's all about retreating back to the silence and finding those answers and finding that peace and getting that higher level of understanding from source energy. Right? But I'm gonna tell you this, brothers, sometimes the silence will summon you. Sometimes life can be good. Sometimes you can be healthy. You can have a good relationship. Your money can be doing amazing things. And the silence will still summon you. Right? And all that means, brothers, is that it's time to move to the next level. What it means is, you've mastered or you've passed all the tests associated with this level, and now it's just time to move on, brothers. But the thing is this, man, it's all about understanding that voice when you're in the silence. You know what I'm saying? It's all about understanding. It's all about hearing God, right? When you're in that place of solitude, when you're sitting in that chair with no radio, no television going on, it's all about understanding what you're hearing, brothers. Understanding that there is a voice in the silence. So what I want to talk about today, man, is once you're in that silence, what do you do now? In other words, once you found that stillness, once you've tapped into zero frequency, once the rest of the world is at a standstill and you're in that sanctum sanctorum, then what do you do? I'm gonna tell you this, brothers. There's two things. The first thing is you have to learn to listen. You have to learn to listen. One of my brothers in the power circle, man, brother that's dear to me, brother Conquer, right? He was explaining to me something just a few days, maybe a week or so ago, right? And he said, you ever observe two people talking, right? He said if you look at two people talking, you can notice that a person really isn't listening to the other person. He said most people are just tapping in just enough to gather enough data to respond or to have a rebuttal, right? He said that's normally how conversations go. And to be honest, it's no different when you're in the silence. When you're sitting in that still place, man, and you're getting the information that's going to get you to the next level, really what most people are doing is just listening to enough data, enough information to get enough data to respond to that energy on why they can't or why they shouldn't move in a certain direction. In other words, when source energy tells you, hey, you know what? It's time for you to leave that job, or it's time for you to leave that relationship, or maybe you should entertain this thing that's coming into your life. The first thing most people want to do is, of course, bring information from the old version of themselves to have some kind of rebuttal on why they should or shouldn't do a thing. People aren't listening. People don't trust the voice. People don't trust source energy. Like I said a million times, man, we spend years of our lives reading all this book, going over all this content, going to all these services and vacation Bible schools and studying seminars from philosophers and deciphering the hieroglyphs on the walls of the pyramid. But when it's time to us to stand 10 toes down and interact with source, we want to put limitations up. We don't even want to listen to a full set of instructions, man. So you have to listen. You have to remove all limitation and say, you know what? What is this? What is this energy telling me? What is this energy telling me that's going to get me to the next level, man? We have to trust the source and we have to listen. The second thing, brothers, is we have to act with speed. We have to act with speed, brothers. You know, I had a live with my brother Rico Jefferson the other day. And brother Rico, man, if you don't follow him on Instagram, Roughneck Actual, we had a great quick conversation, lasted about an hour. And really what I wanted to dive into by talking to brother Rico is figure out how he went from, you know, like he said, you know, sitting in a parking lot of a Walmart, deliberating on how he was going to get diapers for his child, how he was going to get food to feed his family. And he was just at a dead end, man, bank account in the negative zeros to the point where he is now, man, you know, owner of several businesses, making several, you know, thousands of dollars, even actually made up $1 million in a month here this past December. And when I was telling the viewers of that live, I said, it's kind of like, you know, when Napoleon said in the book, Think and Grow Rich, it's not about what a man does, it's how he does it, right? So that's really what I wanted to focus on that conversation. But I asked brother Rico this. After that whole interview, I said, brother, what would you say the one thing is that was a determining factor of you getting from where you were to where you are now? And brother Rico pondered on it a second, man, which makes sense, man. He pondered on it a second, and then he said this. He said, speed, brother. He said, going from the point of me getting an idea and acting on that idea was the determining factor. He said, I didn't sit around and try to wait on how to perfect it. I didn't worry about getting it wrong the first time. I just got this information and moved in it and learned how to perfect it on the way. He said, that was the determining factor, man. And it's crazy because we had a Power Circle meeting this past Sunday. Well, another one of my brothers, man, brother Earl Williams gave an excellent message on what he called weeding your garden, right? And one thing he said, man, he said, brothers, we have to be men that think and then act. Not think and deliberate on the best way of doing things. Not think and procrastinate for the next 1,000 years. He said we have to be men that think and then act. And I'm gonna tell you, man, that goes back to trusting the source. It's like if you're gonna submerge yourselves in the silence, then you have to trust the energy. You have to trust the information that you're gonna receive once you get there. It comes back to trusting that energy, brothers. Like I said, man, a lot of times we use the silence to retreat. We use the silence to say, you know what, man, things in my life aren't right. Like let me tap back into, you know, this place where the all lives. But like I said, brother, sometimes the silence will summon you, man. Sometimes source energy will say, brother, job well done on where you're at. And I know you aren't asking me for more things in life. I know you're content, you're happy with what you have, man, but I have a greater mission for you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I have bigger mountains for you to move. I have more lives for you to touch. I have more people for you to speak to. I have more patience for you to heal. I have more congregations for you to speak sermons to, man. So without even questioning it, man, that silence will draw you in. What does that look like? Sometimes, man, your life will be going great, and you'll just get the urge to. You get the urge to just slow down for a little bit. You might be going to the spot you might hit the sports bar every Thursday, man, just to kind of chill and chop with your brothers. And sometimes you'll say, man, let me just chill out for a week or two, man, and just sit in stillness. You know, sometimes I know, brother, I'll cut and I've been doing it recently hard, man, the last week or so. I'll just cut my ringer off. I might cut it off for a whole day. I might cut it off for a half a day, man, and say, you know what? I have nobody to answer to. Let me just sit still and listen to source energy for a little bit, man. Something just tells me to do that. That's when the silence is summoning you, brothers. Sometimes your girl wants to go out and have date night every Friday night. Some weekends you say, you know what, baby, I just want to chill. Like you can come over here and meditate with me and get in this vibe, or let's just chill this weekend. Let's just keep our distance. That's when the summoning is. That's when the silence is summoning you, brothers. But I'm gonna tell you this: when this is happening, you have to have a full understanding of what's taking place, man. It's source energy saying, you know what, brothers, it's time for you to level up. So in other words, it's saying, you know, those thoughts that you've been having that's been in the back of your mind about, you know, you want to do greater in things. It's like it's that source energy saying, I'm finna tell you how to get there. When it's saying I'm trying to be in the midst of other people, I'm trying to have certain type relationships, I'm trying to make certain type moves, but I don't know how. The silence will summon you, brothers.